Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the Marine Plant-Based School. I'm super happy to introduce one of the wonderful entrepreneurs. So please introduce a little bit about yourself first.
Yeah, hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me on Marine Plant University. I'm coming from Vancouver, Canada, and my name is Desiree Dupuis. I am the founder of Seaweed, a consumer seaweed brand called Kove with a K, Kove. And so with Kove, we are developing the tastiest, most delicious snacks that we can made from the world's most sustainable crop, seaweed.
Beautiful. So let me please explain more details about why you start this business. Did you have any background to start the seaweed company, or what was your backstory?
Yeah, actually, well, Kove was developed as the consumer brand for a Vancouver Island-based company called Cascadia Seaweed. And so the founder at Cascadia Seaweed, Bill Collins, had been doing an economic study on the island of like the city of Victoria on Vancouver Island. And throughout his kind of research and development, realized how big of an opportunity Vancouver Island had to get into the seaweed industry. All of the benefits, as we know, environmentally of planting and growing seaweed, the nutritional benefits, and so on and so on. And so he and two other men founded Cascadia Seaweed in 2019. And after a few months of developing the company, investing in planting seaweed and building seaweed farms with Indigenous First Nations, kind of realized that the best way, the highest, most valuable usage of the seaweed that they were planting and growing around Vancouver Island would be a consumer food brand. And so my background, I'm vegan, plant-based, ultra sustainable. I love the planet. I'm involved in things that are not only cruelty-free from an animal perspective, but also benefit the earth. And I'm a marketing and branding person. And so when they were moving forward to launch a consumer food brand, I was invited to join Cascadia Seaweed as the VP of Sales and Marketing and as a founding partner to launch the food brand, which ultimately became Kove. Over the 2.5 years that I was a part of Cascadia Seaweed, because it's a startup investor funded company, investors wanted to go in a different direction in terms of the verticals for the company with Cascadia Seaweed. And so we have essentially spun off Kove as its own incorporation, and I took over full ownership of the brand. And so now it's just myself, and I brought in some new partners to develop our food products and to really focus on just the consumer part of being a CPG food brand.
Beautiful. Was it painful to separation? No?
There was some painful moments because we weren't sure what the future would hold for Kove.
Sure.
And it was it was still in its infancy, but we were gaining so much momentum that we didn't just want to let it die, so to speak. And so luckily, I was able to make a fair deal with the other founding partners of Cascadia, and it benefited both of us, and also bringing new partners that were really excited about what the brand was doing and where we can go and the opportunity. Because in Canada, I was reading through your website, and I know that you've acknowledged all of the different countries that are familiar with seaweed and already using seaweed, and an emerging market is in Canada. And a lot of the Canadian grocery stores and retailers in food, and especially in the natural food space, are extremely interested in seaweed and consumer food products, especially, there's also a movement towards local as well. And so there's things that are really missing in the Canadian grocery market in terms of natural foods. One, obviously, being seaweed snacks, but two, being locally grown seaweed snacks. There are not any. We're the only brand, really. And so, I was lucky to find partners that really saw that I already had been working in the food space, in the natural food space, with some pretty big brands, and wanted to get involved with a brand that is really positive for the environment and everything that we know about seaweed. And so it was a bit painful, but we made it to a really good place.
Well, congratulations. And please tell me about your product. So I already checked your Instagram, which is so beautiful. I love the branding. It's clean, simple, but I could feel the happiness through there. But please tell me about your product to the audience.
Yeah, so right now we're in two categories. The first one, which we like to say is like the lowest hanging fruit, because for us, as I mentioned, in Canada, we don't have the manufacturing, we don't have the seaweed industry set up. And so we developed our first line of products, which is our signature seaweed seasoning. So it's just made with dried seaweed. We were using sugar kelp and alaria as the two marine plants, the seaweed plants that were being grown on Vancouver Island. And so our original, we have 3 flavors of our signature seaweed seasoning, which is our sea spice original, which kind of mimics the everything bagel spice. It's garlicky, it's got that umami flavor.
Yum, yum,
So
yum.
delicious on avocado toast and
Ooh.
salads. Oh my gosh, people love it on popcorn, which we've like really
Oh,
hit on the mark because it has that
oh my God, I
garlicky
love that.
saltiness. Yeah. And then we also have 2 other flavors of our seaweed seasoning. It comes in lemon, which is fabulous on anything you want to do Greek, like lemon style Greek potatoes, a tofu marinade, even a nice
Oh,
salad with olive oil. And then sriracha, which obviously spices everything up, and sriracha is so good. So those are our 3 flavors of our sea spice, our signature seaweed seasoning. And then we've entered into the snack market with our protein puffs. So our protein puffs, our goal with our food products, because it is food, it's natural food. Seaweed is naturally healthy, naturally vegan. We don't want to screw it up by adding a bunch of crap to it. And so we've really tried to take a clean approach to the snacks. And so we focused on protein because, as we know, well, maybe not the listeners don't know, but I'm sure you know in your team that seaweed is actually naturally very high and significant in protein. And so we really wanted to leverage that. And in North America, people are still really like focused on protein, and also especially with plant foods, trying to figure out how they can get as much protein as possible. And so, yeah, for a 100-gram bag of our protein puffs, you'll get up to 18 grams of protein,
wow.
so up to 18%, with less than 4 grams of sugar in an entire bag. And so we feature our protein puffs. It's just seaweed powder with pea protein, and they come in 4 flavors. Our most popular, of course, is the umami butter,
Oh, yeah.
and that we have a barbecue with cheddar and a kelp and vinegar as well. So
Beautiful. So
yeah.
tell me about you. What was your difficulty to, to start the new product? Because most of the CPG, the people who don't work in the CPG industry, people think that, oh, just making one recipe, they can like, tweak into the mass production system. But of course, it's not as you see. There's tons of difficulty, tons of headaches, right? What was your most headache and then how do you achieve it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think that's why the investors kind of like no longer wanted to fund the
I hear
consumer
you.
brand, because it took us 2 years. I mean, I don't think consumers understand everything from shelf life stability. We really wanted to do like a fresh salad,
Logistics,
the logistics and
renting. Yeah,
the
everything.
scaling up. Like, it's very easy to make a seaweed salad for 100 people, but if you want to make a seaweed salad for 1 million people and sell it across Canada, it's a whole nother story in
Right.
terms of the production, and of course the
Oh,
shelf stability. So being a new brand, we didn't know how fast the product would move, and then if it would be perishable before people could actually enjoy it. And so we kind of moved away from fresh right away, just understanding all the challenges that we would encounter as a new brand trying to come out with a fresh product, and of course the distribution and the logistics and all the behind the scenes too, that most consumers don't understand, like how it doesn't get into the cooler section in your local grocery store, how many hands it has to touch before it actually gets there. And so yeah, and the other thing that we really, really wanted, because there again, that was coming like with the low-hanging fruit and knowing that we could do something, because in Canada, the one snack that people are consuming like crazy, especially kids, is the seaweed snacks, the little sheets. So we can get them at
I was so surprised with that because when I was kids in the States, when I eat the seaweed, the snacks, people were so surprised at me because people said that I'm Alisa's eating the black paper, but
oh
nowadays
yeah.
people are just bringing the snacks for the ginger food, which is phenomenal. I was so surprised with that.
It's a great snack and people go bananas for it, and they're really consuming it. Costco has its own version,
Oh
and
yes.
there's a few different brands, but we knew we would have a winner because people want local. All of that seaweed is coming from Asia. And also the packaging is a big problem because it's plastic on plastic on plastic. And so we really wanted to develop the seaweed snacks, but we just literally we didn't have the manufacturing industry in Canada as you have, as you know, in Asia. And so we would have ended up having to ship our seaweed over to China or Korea, get it made into, you know, the ink and the pulp that it's made into to make those seaweed sheets, and then brought back over here. And trying to be, you know, sustainability is one of our, you know, number one pillars. And so it just didn't make sense. And so it was pivot upon pivot upon pivot, working with different food scientists, executive chefs that also, like, again, with North America, especially like West Coast, Vancouver, it's not a popular ingredient. There's not a lot of experience. Even the food scientists we work with, you know, developing, we also looked at doing a seaweed jerky, but the best way to get the texture for the jerky would be to use kind of like a soy based, you know, a base. Right. And so then it was becoming like seaweed coated instead of like an actual seaweed product. And so yeah, I mean, I could go on for the whole podcast about the 2 years worth of challenges we had to, and that's why our first product became the sea spice, because it came as a byproduct, right, as the chefs were working in the kitchen trying to develop salads and trying to develop snacks and
totally understand.
They dried the seaweed, and all of a sudden we had this like really tasty spice, and we were like, okay, we can put that into a bottle and start selling that right away as we continue to develop, you know, real seaweed food products that and we're still trying to innovate and so on. So yeah,
I
thank you.
Totally have the same issue. Yeah. So we start from the candy business. We are lucky because we have how to say, specific ingredients to make this beautiful candies. That is like, those seaweed, we have 400 years history in Japan. So easy access. In the past, like samurai preferred to eat these seaweed candies at the tea ceremony room. So yes, it was a really easy for starting the candy business. However, when we decided to switch into the beverage, we are going to do a world first seaweed based beverage that the people can just drink as a daily juice. You don't feel any fishiness, saltiness. It's just a juice, and you don't have any texture. That's also our technology too. But it took 4 years to do the basic.
4 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's too much.
That's wild. Yeah, we had beverages like we had a whole innovation pipeline, which has been scaled back now because we're just building organically, but we had beverages because, again, really trying to leverage all the benefits that are already existing in seaweed, and putting it into a beverage is such a no-brainer. So yeah, 4 years. Wow, that's remarkable.
Well, especially we were caring about the tastiness and then also the healthiness as well. So most of the time, healthy, tasty can be opposite, as you see. If it's gonna be tasty, that means mostly too much sugar, too much
oil, all the things. Yeah.
Right. So, but
I mean, not everybody loves our protein puffs because they are a healthier snack. I would say 90% of people under 40 that try them enjoy them a lot, but we have had people that say they're too bland, or the flavor profile is not strong enough. And it's like, well, the only way we can increase that is by adding oil or sugar. And so then we're no longer a guilt-free, healthy, protein-based snack anymore. Right. And so it's like, you can't always necessarily, you know, have it all. We're not going to be Doritos or Cheetos for that matter.
Totally. So I totally understand your you know, the headache and then also the painness. So then now you have your, you know, product. Where do you sell? It's all in Canada right now. Do you ship nationwide?
Yeah, right now we're primarily on the West Coast, again, growing organically, but we are available, I would say, across Canada all the way to Quebec is the furthest east that we're available, which, you know, Canada, it is quite a large country. So geographically, we're covering a lot of ground. And we've actually been accepted into Whole Foods. So we will be very soon on the shelves at Whole Foods with our full lineup. And yeah, we're working on some major listings with the big grocery stores across Canada, and eventually we'll be going into the States. We would love to look at opportunities. I'm sure people over in Asia or even Europe would be interested in Canadian seaweed snacks. And so again, it's you know, the scale and the growth, it's not biting off more than we can chew. But
don't compare with the internet service.
Yeah. So yeah, we're trying to build a sustainable company, not just from obviously the the term sustainable for the planet, but also financially sustainable, harmony, balance for our people that work within the company, and make sure that we can be around, be profitable for a very long time.
Beautiful. So what is your next dream? What do you wanted to do? And do you have tell me about your big picture. We would love to listen to like your beautiful stories.
Yeah, I mean, I think our mission at Kove is a values-based mission, mission-driven brand. And so the main goal is to empower people to know that, climate change is a very heavy issue that our generation is carrying and dealing with. And we want our brand exists to empower individuals to know that, every time they make a conscious, mindful food choice, they are making decisions that impact the planet. And so our dream obviously is to build our community and to continue to empower people to believe that they're making an impact with their consumer food choices. And then in terms of seaweed, obviously our dream is 7 days of seaweed, to continue to innovate and deliver tasty but healthy, sustainable seaweed-based products. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to be us, but I love the innovation that's happening in seaweed-based packaging.
Oh,
so my dream would be to absolutely have our our tasty seaweed snacks in seaweed based
oh,
packaging,
come
so
on. We have
somebody
that
can
solution.
okay,
We
yeah, so
have
you
that
can
solution. Come on, let
take
us know.
I'm a marketing person, so I see the commercial, you have your family at the beach, everybody's eating seaweed snacks, and then you throw your packaging into the ocean, which looks absolutely horrendous, but
Phenomenal, yes.
it's actually disintegrating and feeding back into ocean life. And so that is the ultimate dream, is to have a plethora of healthy seaweed-based snacks in seaweed-based packaging, and have Kove be available all around the world for consumers that do want to make those more conscious choices.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for the time. So for the last question, please, do you have any comments to the listener or the people who are interested in the seaweed business? Please, leave some beautiful comments.
Thank you. Yes, I would just encourage everyone to check us out, Kove with a K. If you are in Canada, try our protein puffs, reach out. I manage our social media. I'd love to hear from you on Instagram, even through our website. If you are in the seaweed farming business or are interested in the seaweed farming business, I encourage you, because this is becoming a booming industry in North America, and we need more seaweed farmers. We as a brand need more inputs. We need more seaweed, more dried seaweed, especially locally sourced dried seaweed. So I definitely encourage you to look into getting into seaweed farming. And yeah, anyone else, feel free to reach out. We're super responsive and love to hear from you. We need you, because this is a growing industry, and we really want to make our mark. And again, work with people and be aligned with people and build our community of people that care about the planet and the future well-being of this place we call home.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for
Thank
the
you,
time.
Lisa.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
nice to chat with you.